Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on the final issue of Beast Wars Transformers. Now, we're pretty much at the end game of the Beast Wars storyline, and it's been a pleasure reviewing this series ever since the third lockdown in the UK. And the final cover mainly has the Volk looking at Tarantulas' dead body, and let's get on the story. It picks up after issue 16, with Rhinox waking up, and Dinobot saying, "Tarantulas technically, by the way of an undead pterosaur. You were stunned." "What?" "I suggest you pay attention closer. Rhinox, your life will depend on it, by the primes." And we see how the Volk have gathered many protoforms, with some like Cybershark, Transketo, also Power Pinch, as well as Inferno and so many others. And they see how they kind of get into the battle to try and deal with what they can. We see how Optimus tries to talk with Tigatron and that, with him saying, "You invaded our world and wouldn't leave when asked. This isn't your world. Was I not born here?" And we see how Megatron kills off two other creations of the Volk. And we see how Cheetor and Black Arachne are taking down some of the other controlled Volk Transformers. And we see how Waspinator and Rat Trap are working on the sort of way to kind of get the Maximal ship online. And we see how Skull tries to talk with them, saying how they could have been friends, but we see how she comes face to face with Pterosaur, and of course, just as it seems hopeless, Rhinox mainly takes him down, and also figures that Pterosaur doesn't have a spark, so it's not going to be a problem to take him down or hold back punches. And we see Nick saying, "I don't suppose you two are the ones that are open to non-violent conversations, are you? Okay, I guess not. Bad news for you two. I happen to be really fast. One down, 1, 2. You're not the only ones who's fast. Ah!" And of course, we see how Optimus turns into his beast mode and tries to take on Tigatron, with Megatron basically trying to use his Dino Cannon. And we see how Tarantulas looks around, saying, "Look at the beautiful chaos, Maximals and Predacons." And then we see how Black Arachne tries to take him down, and we see how Tarantulas tries to go to the Volk, who mainly talk about that they're going to wipe the slate clean and start over again. And we see Megatron point out about Tigatron's reaction, saying, "Because they are base cowards, Tigatron. Will you, Volk, prove me wrong? Will you face us to equal trumps?" And of course, they use their powers on every of the Transformers, and talk about using their sort of base cannon, with one of them saying, "I still say we should have put the device in one of the moons. Every world we come to, you want to put a failsafe into a moon. It's impenetrable tunnel." But of course, just as they're talking, they get blasted by the Maximal's energy cannon, and of course, they mainly fire away, destroying the Volk. And we see how Tigatron says, "I can no longer feel their presence. The Volk are gone. If that's true, maybe we can come to a understanding. I even not fight you if I don't have to." But we see how Tigatron and Air Razor leave, talk about wanting to be left alone. And we see Megatron saying, "But I won't. Oh yes, prepare to." And we see how Megatron gets sapped away. And of course, we see how Optimus asks what he do. And we see how basically Rat Trap points out that since the energy cannon was different from the Volk, he's probably going to be transported somewhere else in quite a long time. And we also see how Optimus is willing to work beside with the other Predacons in coming back to Cybertron with them, but Dinobot points out that since he was working with Megatron, they'll also want a scapegoat. And keep in mind that they'll need Megatron to avoid any more problems. And of course, this is where we see the team go their separate ways and leave. But of course, we see how Black Arachnia recruits Inferno, making him a new member to the Predacon cause. And we see how they're wondering how to get spare parts for the dark side, but we see how Black Arachnia decides to get some from the Vought weaponry. And we see Megatron now transported in a large cave, and him deciding to continue the Beast Wars and will win until no matter what. And the story is, the war may continue, but for now, this is the end. And this is pretty much the end of the series. I think overview for as issue 17's final, it's okay, but it leaves more room. I know there were plans for other storylines, one of which was meant to include Grimlock and the other 4 Dinobots, one of which would also include the potential recruitment of Quickstrike, as well as covering Ronox being a potential mole for the Predacons due to the Maximals' distrust, and even one with Rat Trap eating fruit that he would end up getting a glitch and them trying to figure out what to do. I think overview for the final issue is okay, but it still deserves a thumbs in the middle. And I think overview for the Beast Wars series is definitely a series that deserves better. You can tell Eric Burnham and the team really wanted to tell more stories, and I'm hoping if Image Comics get the rights to Transformers, maybe they can continue the series their own way again. I think it worked with Garth Ennis and the boys. When Wildstorm closed up, he was able to do it with Dynamite. So the series deserves a thumbs up. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.